This video is sponsored by Govi, and today I'm going to show you how to set up your PS5. So to start off with, let's talk about all the ports and buttons on the PS5. The PS5 I have right here is the PS5 with the disk drive, and we have the power button right here. Then right next to it we have the eject button for ejecting the disks. Then we have a USB-C port and a USB-A port. The USB-C port is for things that need very fast speeds, such as USB storage, and you can even hook up a PS camera if you get an adapter for it. The USB-A port is for basically anything else like controllers or any other PS5 accessory. Now, as we look further down the front of the PS5, these fins right here are where the air goes in to help cool the PS5. Now I'll talk more about this in a minute, but you want to make sure there's nothing blocking this air intake. And then we move over to the back side of the PS5. So here we have the power connector. This is where you plug in your power cable. We have the HDMI connector where you plug in the HDMI cable. Next we have the LAN port for if you don't want to use Wi-Fi and you want to use a plug-in connection right to your router. And then we have two more USB-A ports. These USB-A ports are pretty much exactly the same as the USB-A port on the front, and you can use them to plug in any accessories for the PS5. Now that we've taken a look at all the ports and buttons, let's install the stand. When you take the stand out of the box, it's gonna come just like this, and this configuration is made if you wanna have the PS5 horizontal. So in order to hook it up in the horizontal position, you need to find all of these symbols right here and line up the stand with this square and this square, just like this. And now the PS5 is ready to be used in the horizontal position. If you want to use your PS5 in the vertical position, then you need to flip up the PS5 just like this and find this little round screw cover. You can use most any object that is semi-sharp to pull out the cover. And there is the screw hole for mounting the stand on the PS5 in the vertical position. But now we need to set up the stand. So you notice the stand turns like this. So if you want to use it in the vertical position, we need to turn the stand like this, then flip it over, and underneath you'll find a screw. Now you also notice this small round hole that you can put the screw cover that we removed in the first step. Now we can take the screw and screw the stand onto the PS5. These two parts of the PS5 stand go back here, and the screw goes right down here. You can use a screwdriver or a coin or sometimes even a fingernail to tighten this screw. You don't need it to be super tight, just enough to hold the stand on. And that's how the stand works. Now let's talk about where you should keep your PS5 to help keep it cool and clean. Now, as I said a minute ago, the air intake ports are right on this side of the PS5, so no matter whether you have it upright or horizontal, you want to make sure that there's plenty of space for air to get into the PS5. I recommend at least 6 inches away from any walls or anything that's going to restrict airflow. Now on the back side, you're also going to want to make sure all of these fins are also clear because that's where the hot air exhausts. So you want to make sure that it's also 6 inches or so away from any wall or solid object that might restrict the airflow from exhausting out of the PS5. Now, one of the most important things about where you place your PS5 is you need to make sure that it's as far away from the floor as you can get. When it's on the floor, it pulls in hair and dust and all sorts of debris that's low on the floor. Now that's just going to end up making your PS5 dirty on the outside and the inside, and eventually it's going to make your PS5 run hotter and possibly even overheat. So it's always best to leave it up way off the floor so it can get nice clean air to help ventilate and cool the PS5. Let's talk about how to make your gaming setup even better by adding Govi LED light strips. And right now, November 30, 2020, Govi is having a great Cyber Monday sale. You can get 30% off your purchase, but you need to go to the link in the description right now because the sale only lasts for 24 hours. Govi strip lights are great for gaming setups, especially for the upcoming Christmas and New Year. Unlike traditional RGB strip lights, Govi RGB IC strip lights display multiple colors simultaneously, all in one strip. And another great feature of these Govi lights is they even work with Alexa. With more colorful lighting and creative freedom, you can showcase your life with unique style. I love these Govi LED strip lights, first of all because they're high quality, but you can also use an app to control them and a remote control. So be sure to go to the link in the description to purchase your Govi LED strip lights before the sale ends. During the sale, you can get 30% off Govi LED lights starting at $6.99. Even after the sale, Govi is one of the highest rated and best-selling LED strip lights on Amazon, so even if you're not able to catch these great prices during the sale, you can still get a good deal over on Amazon for Govi LED strip lights. Now let's talk about installing the cables. The power cable obviously just plugs in right here. You need to make sure and give it a good push and make sure that it doesn't go any further. Sometimes you have to give it a little bit of a wiggle and make sure it's in there nice and tight and not just kind of loose. Another thing that I always recommend with game consoles is to plug them directly into a wall outlet rather than a power strip, because sometimes power strips can actually restrict the amount of power that goes into your game console. So directly into a wall outlet is always the best. If you don't have an extra wall outlet, you can try a power strip, but just remember that a wall outlet is always best. Now the HDMI cable plugs right in here, and one thing you just want to remember with the HDMI cable is don't just try and jam it in there. Don't try and plug it in if you can't see it very well, because what might end up happening is you might get it in here upside down and you just try and jam it in, or sideways, and that could damage the port inside of the PS5. It is possible to fix those ports, but unfortunately, it's not easy. If for some reason you do damage your HDMI port, I recommend ChainFix.com to get it repaired. When you have a good view of the HDMI port and you know that the HDMI cable is oriented correctly, you just push straight down and in, and make sure it goes in there all the way, give it a good wiggle, and then make sure that it's in there nice and tight. Don't push too hard, because you can actually push the inside of the port all the way through the back, and that is obviously not good. That will also require the HDMI port to be replaced. If you're using wired internet, the LAN cable goes right here. If you're using the rear USB-A ports, then you need to make sure and do the same as with the rest of these. Make sure that you can see it well, make sure that your cable is oriented correctly, and then it just plugs in the same way as the rest of the cables. I always recommend using these cables for things that you don't use as much. That frees up the front ports for things that you use all the time, like the controller charge cable. If you need to charge your controller while you're playing your PS5, then you just plug the USB-A cable for the controller in right there, and then the USB cable right into the controller, and let it charge while you're playing. Next, let's talk about the manual eject screw and exterior cleaning of your PS5. If for some reason your disk drive stops working and doesn't spit your disk back out when you're trying to get it out by pressing the eject button, the PS5 does include a manual eject feature, and to do that, we need to remove the bottom plastic. Also, if you're going to clean out your PS5, removing the plastics is going to be something you're going to want to do as well, so I'll show you how to remove both of them. For this top plastic, we need to lift right here and push this way. Lift and push. And the same with the bottom plastic, we need to lift and push. Now with the top and bottom plastics off, we can clean it a little bit better and use the manual eject feature. So if a disc gets stuck in your PS5, I'm going to be using this tiny flat blade screwdriver. I'm just going to put it right inside the manual eject hole, and then I'm going to turn the screwdriver clockwise. I'm just going to keep turning until I see the disc come out. Now you also can use a small Phillips to do the exact same thing. Just insert it into the hole and turn clockwise, and your disc will come right out. Now let's talk about how to clean these intake fins. I'm just going to be using this cleaning brush right here. You can use various types of brushes or canned air, whatever you want, but you'll just want to go around and clean any loose dust off, and then use a vacuum to vacuum it up. And then on the bottom side, you'll just want to do the exact same thing. And in addition, you can use this hole right here and this hole right here to clean out the heat sinks as well as you can. I doubt cleaning out these holes will really do that much, and you need a pretty small vacuum hose to get in there, but it's still worth a try. If you need to do more in-depth cleaning of your PS5, I'm going to put a video up on your screen now where I show you exactly how to do that without breaking anything. Thank you so much to Govi for sponsoring this video. Thank you for watching it, and I hope you have a good one.